All right, shalom, shalom. Want to give all praise, glory, and honor be to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Want to say shalom to everybody that'll tune into this lesson live. Shalom to all the viewers, man. Shalom to those who will tune in following the live. So today's topic, is the title, man. It's not necessarily dedicated to this player, but it's about this player, and it's also about you know the I guess you could say the misunderstood or really the understanding of what it means to have help. So before we go any further, man, we want to play the blowing of the shofar, but also want to say rest in peace to the brother Rondale Moore, man, that passed yesterday, and his suspected cause of death would be suicide. So, not sure how accurate that is, but I mean, a lot of sources have confirmed it. So, uh, if that be the case, that's why we got to do a video like this, man, to really help our people and teach our people. But uh,
How
let me
old was
see.
it?
25 years old, 25, NFL player. He played for the Cardinals, then he played for the Falcons. He got traded to the Falcons, but he had sat out all 2024 with the Falcons due to injury because he tore his ACL, I believe, and then he sat out again this year due to injury. So it's definitely a sad situation, man, for our young people, especially our young men. We got to do a even better job of receiving the help that we need mentally when life gets hard, when life gets challenging. We gotta, we gotta be the people that are going through things can reach out to. And not only that, if you're somebody that's going through those type of mental battles, we got to do a great job, an even better job of making sure that we're reaching out to receive the help that we need, right? But we'll get into that. Uh Dang, I'm trying to find the shofar video, but I can't seem to find it. Let me see. I can't seem to find this thing. Let me see. Shorts. Ain't it in shorts? It should be.
We got one in shorts. The other one's an actual video though. It's not gonna be in like it's gonna be an actual video with a blue background.
Yeah, I know, but it ain't even pulling up.
The one that's in the shorts is Obadiah blowing it. And you can actually see him on the street corner.
Well, I found it. I found it. I found it. So let me play this. Let me play the OG one. Before we do that, let me share my screen. And let me know if you can hear it too. Let me know if you can hear. All right, so that was the blowing of the shofar. Uh, how I wanted to start this video off officially, man, is just play, some of the brother highlights, right? Because I want to emphasize something. As a young man myself, in my getting into my late 20s, and as not only a father and a husband, but also someone who faces life challenges and battles, who goes through mental fights, that a lot of people fight. Um, it's definitely a topic that's a lot of people talk about, but I don't think we hit it hard enough sometimes, like the true understanding of mental health. But before we go to any video, right? Let me just we gonna go to the Bible real quick before we go to any video. We're just gonna go to the Bible real quick.
Brother mentioned getting into his late 20s. Brother, you've been there. You've been there, brother.
Okay, so I'm in my late 20s. Okay,
Yeah.
says a brother.
You got too much longer before you're out of them, so you've been there, brother.
Whatever, bro. Anyways, in my late 20s, man. But a lot of these, I guess you could say, battles that we're facing, Everybody faces battles. I'm saying that. So let me say this. Everybody faces challenges. And this is why we do lessons. This is why we have conversations. This is why we go downtown and teach the Bible, man, because there's people who need healing. There's people who need answers and better understanding. And there's people who need maybe direction and guidance, like on what to do. And it's just not for those people. It's for us as well. Because we can encounter people. They can give us perspectives. It can help us in our walk. The same thing when we go out there and we teach the Bible. We know that the scriptures can, be something to help them in their understanding, right? In their walk, their journey. So let's read this real quick first in First Corinthians chapter 10, and let's read verse number 13.
First Corinthians chapter 10 and 13.
Yes, sir.
The book of First Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13. There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
Right, man. People always, the brother Azrael always say, people always think that this is talking about the Lord saying he's not going to put more on you than you can bear. It's not what it's saying. It's talking about how the Lord, with the work that he puts on you, he'll give you a way to bear that workload. He'll give you a way to handle that stress, right? And I agree, because all throughout the scriptures, man, all throughout the Bible, we can see that people were given challenging tasks. But when they felt the task was hard, the Lord didn't take it away from them and say, okay, that's too much. Let me take a little bit off of it. He gave them a way to handle that, right? When Moses was alone, he gave him Aaron. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot about, it's not necessarily about going through these trials and tribulations of life alone. It's really about knowing that you can have help, knowing that you have help, and knowing that everything that you're going through is not nothing new, right? It's not must-see TV. It's not never seen or heard of before type of experiences, right? There's been many men that lived and died on this earth. And majority of every man that's lived and died on this earth has encountered some of the same mental, the same physical, the same financial, the same situations, trials, tribulations, and temptations that you have faced. And we have to do a better job as saints of God, people of God, and truly much just children, right? We have to do a better job of understanding that it's okay to get help, right? And that's why we're going to go and watch a few of these brothers' highlights. I want to share this tab. And I'm not watching this. We're not watching these videos for entertainment, right? We're watching these videos because we want to learn something. So in this video, I'm going to stop it because I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask a question. We're going to learn something real quick. Let me play this.
A third down throw for Blau, and it's Moore across the middle. Beats his man again. Very tough to get to the ground with just one defender. Blau rolls that direction and delivers underneath. Touchdown!
Now, look, this was Rondale Moore, in 2018. And ironically, the quarterback that was playing for Ohio State this year was Dwayne Haskins, I believe. But this is Rondale Moore, 2018, right, against Ohio State, and this is Purdue. So Purdue is unranked. Ohio State, right at this time, 7-0, the number 2 ranked team in the country. And Purdue beat them pretty bad in this game. Rondale Moore had a career game, but it's not about Rondale Moore, right, out while I'm playing this video. Notice what's happening, right? Pay attention and look and use your eyes.
Moore makes up for the drop and reaches the... And on the end around, here comes Moore. Moore still running and runs backwards. He's right near the marker. Jet sweep. Moore has got it. He's got the quarter.
Now, I'm stopping it right there for a stopping point. So, like we said, 12 receptions, 107 in receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. That is a legendary game against a legendary team, right? A big-time team. The most important thing on this video is being played is not Rondale Moore making all the moves, right? It's the people that's helping him create these moves. It's the things that are happening before he even touches the ball that make this, I guess you could say, performance available, right? Let me play it back a little bit, right?
He's got the corner. Stop and go. Nope, he stepped out of bounds.
Look,
More in motion. They get it to him. More in space.
You want to know what happened in that 2 or 3 seconds right there before he caught that pass? The quarterback had to make the protection call, right? The coach had to call the play call, signaling the play call to the quarterback, right? The offensive line had to communicate, okay, who's their man to block? All right? The receivers had to get lined up in their positions. The referees had to get in their positions. The people who was working the chains had to get in their positions, right? The announcers had to get up to speed. All of these things are taking place before he catches the ball right there. The reason I'm emphasizing that is because I want to point out something. Nothing in this life is done alone or by yourself. Even when you have big-time games and big-time performances, there's people that are helping you get to that point, right? So if there's people that's helping you achieve these goals, perform at a high level as such, that means you have help. There's things that people have helped you get to where you are. That means that people helped you create and have that opportunity. The reason I'm emphasizing the help is because we have help in all aspects and walks of life. There's people that play football that are professional athletes, like Rondale Moore was, because he played in the NFL and he was currently with the Vikings. But in the NFL, you have physical trainers, you have strength coaches, right? You have position coaches, you have equipment staff, you have physical trainers and athletic trainers, almost like the same thing, right? You have all of these people that put in a lot of work for you to be able to go out there and practice and on game days and do your job at a high level. Because if you do your job great, everybody gets paid great, right? But it's so many people that are helping you get to the level that you want to play at, because that's where the greatest rewards come from, right? And in life, and you in the NFL, like I just mentioned, you have all those people helping you. But even people who are in the NFL, they also have people outside of football. Like you may have an agent, who helps you negotiate your contracts, right? When it's free agency and you've been hooping in the league and it's time to get paid and you want to be the highest player at your position, you may have an agent to help you negotiate that, to look through the numbers for you. That agent may have assistants and teams who may help read the fine print. You may have a lawyer. You may have a financial advisor, right? You may have, even in the offseason when you're training, a nutritionist, right? So you have all this help outside of the actual playing of the game, right? You have all this help even when playing the game. What I'm emphasizing is that in the case of Rondale Moore, help is necessary. In the area of our life that it should matter most that we have help is our mental, right? Our mental. It's the area that we should emphasize having help the most. It's the most important. Because if your mind is not in the right space, if you're not in the right space of mind, you're unable to function, right? Let's get that real quick. I'm gonna pull up that precept. What is that?
Hey man, sometimes man, you gotta have people that help you to have the right mental, but also you have to have some people to check you sometimes. Kind of going into this, right? I got an example. Like when I was in high school, we had it was a brother that was 6'8" that was on our basketball team, and that brother would feel himself from time to time. They have something called little man syndrome, but they got a big man syndrome too, and they just be feeling themselves, and they think they God for some reason. And so he was 6'8", and he would have some good games. He'd come in the locker room talking his mess. And he'd be like, "You ain't have 20 though," talking to his own teammates. "You ain't have 20 though? Okay, yeah, shut up." Or he'd be like, I'm the one doing all the work, blah, blah, blah. Or he would just be popping it, right? And I was older than him, and there was some more people older than him, and we had to politely remind him, like, bro, how do you think you're getting 20 as a big man? We're giving you the ball. We can change the trajectory of how you play, right? You got to understand that it's not just you out there. A lot of times, man, people get in their own head and think it's just them because they're only focused on what they do and what they bring to the table. They don't understand how it got there or what things attributed to what they did. And sometimes you got to remind people of that just to, you know, kind of politely humble them so they understand the bigger picture. Because a lot of times you might get around people that are just a bunch of yes men. And then when things go, you know, when things go wrong, what do those yes men do? They disappear. And then you buy yourself on an island. So you got to have some people that's going to, you know, keep you in check from time to time.
Right. Man, you know, a lot of times in this life, man, this is why we tend to get on. I know I said it earlier, and I'm going to say it again, repeat myself, deja vu. Why? Because somebody may just be joining in. But look, what I'm saying is, it's why we get on live, man, and do videos. And this is why we try to add perspective to life. Because a lot of times people are struggling in life because they lack the true perspective of what life is and what it can be, you know? And that's why we try to get on here and make things relatable. I know that I'm a little bit more of a jokester than my counterparts, you know, than the brother Azrael, Denal, Obadiah. I like to joke around sometimes, you know. Even on lives, I'll do something, you know, to kind of like make somebody laugh, or I think it's funny, so I do it. And it's not because I'm trying to be the highlight of the show. No, because what I'm doing is just being authentic, you know, being myself. And what that does for me is it helps put me in a comfortable space that I'm able to really perform at a high level in, right? But I joke because it's not only that, it makes me feel comfortable, it makes me feel authentic, but a part of it is just to kind of help understand that, you know, even in serious situations, there's a moment where you can take a step from the side and maybe just kind of like laugh. Why? Because life is all about perspective, man. Like that, to me, it is like going through storms and stuff like that. I'm not unfamiliar with going through stuff. Like there's been a lot of things that have happened. There's been things that maybe I went through that somebody else couldn't go through. Or there's been things that somebody else go through where maybe the Lord is like, yeah, you don't got to go through that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying that to compare lives. I'm not saying that to compare who's stronger and who's not. I'm saying that because in every situation, there's a moment of gratitude and gratefulness that you can have that, hey, even though I'm going through this situation could be worse. You know, even though I'm going through this situation could be worse. Or maybe you are in the worst situation. But then that's when you can take a step back, have a moment of, you know what I'm saying, realistic, and just laugh and say, you know, if this is the worst situation, then it can get better. Right? There's so many approaches to life that a lot of people tend to forget because of the things that are promoted in this life. And we'll get some scriptures on that. We'll get some scriptures on that. What was I finna pull up though? Let me see. Right? Let me go to Romans 12 real quick. I was gonna read James, right? But let me go to Romans 12 because we read this a lot. Right. So let's read this in the book of Romans, chapter 12. Let's read 1 and 2.
Book of Romans, chapter 12, starting at verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
Right, man. Hey, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Why is that so important? Why is it so important to know that you got to renew your mind, right? Because look, let's read this in 1 John 2, right? 1 John 2 and 15, right? And then we're gonna read 15 through 17.
Come on, 1 John 2, starting at 15.
Right.
Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
Right. And I want to emphasize that again, we're talking about the battle, right? So I didn't say a multitude of things since we started this live. Right now, let's focus on why we shouldn't transform or we shouldn't conform to the world, right? Why did Paul say in Romans 12 that we should not conform to the world? And this is where we are right here. 1 John 2 and 15. What is the importance of this? We'll get that after we read these 3 verses, right? So start from the top again.
Verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of God abideth forever.
Right, man. The reason that this is a problem, right, when we love the world, right? The reason it's a problem when we conform to the things of the world is because the world tells us that if we don't make this amount of money, we're nothing. And even if somebody doesn't directly say that to you, it's the way the world makes you feel, right? The world will tell you, if you don't got this type of job, oh, your job terrible, right? Like, it's an understanding. I don't think, and there are people that actually do that, right? That actually go to you and say, oh, you ain't got this amount of money, you're nothing, right? We've seen it on a lot of these social media videos where they doing pop the balloons, or you see a lot of, what they call 304s. You'll see a lot of 304s in a certain setting with certain quote unquote rich men, right? We've seen it happen. And the reason that we want to emphasize that we shouldn't conform to the world, because all that's in the world is foolishness, right? Like the brother just read in verse 16. It said the only thing that's in this world is the lust of the flesh. Your flesh wants to have a big house. So now you're killing your flesh to achieve that goal. And many people have died literally for overworking their bodies because they're chasing money, right? And that's a curse. Let me go to another scripture real quick. I'm gonna stay right there in verse 1 John, but let me go to another scripture real quick. Let me share this tab. Let's read this in the book of Haggai, chapter 1. Let's start at verse number 5, and we're gonna read verse 5 through 7.
Haggai chapter 1, starting at verse 5. Now therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways.
Man, consider our ways, right? Verse 6, man, all the things that we do in this life, it's almost like it's not enough because we're putting everything that we have into a bag with holes. Why? Because all of these things are after the manner of the flesh. We're never going to be satisfied, right? Like it says in the book of Sirach or Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, I want to say it's I can't remember the chapter in specific, but it says all bread is sweet to a whoremonger, and he's not going to leave off of it until he dies. Pretty much roughly paraphrasing to say that in this life, people are never satisfied because this world teaches us that we should never be satisfied. We should never be content with the things that the Lord gives us. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of brothers, like brother, and I'm not to be sensitive because I don't know who's going to view this. Let me not say, I wasn't going to say anything bad. What I'm saying is I'm not going to assume this was Rondale Moore's fight, the lust of the flesh, right? I'm just speaking to those who may be facing this battle, those who still have an opportunity to live and get to the better side of these mental battles that they're fighting and facing, right? Rondale Moore's book is sealed. It's closed. There's nothing we can do to go back and help him change that, right? But this is a video for those who may be dealing with similar situations like the brother, who we can exhort to maybe get on the other side of it instead of succumbing to it like he did, right? And that's no diss to him. But this is a call for people to understand that the reason we watched and played his highlight tape is because we want to emphasize that he had a great game. Rondale Moore, he had a great life, right? But guess what? We got to know that even outside of our sports, jobs, careers, we have help. And that's why we're going to the Bible and looking at this stuff, because one thing that helps us, the brothers on the screen, is reading this word, because it puts things into perspective. When you read Haggai 1:6 and you see that, man, this is kind of like what people are going through today. And then you go back to 1 John 2:15 where we were at, and it talks about what's in the world. It kind of helps you put things into perspective, like, well, maybe that ain't what I should be chasing. And that's why we read Romans 12, because we want you to understand that we shouldn't conform to this world. Again, all we do in this world is earn wages to put into a bag with holes. So you think that you didn't got $1 million and you just stuffed it inside the bag. You go into the bag, you're not even really paying attention to it because you're so busy trying to get money, you not even realize that you're losing it at the same speed that you're getting it. So you double working yourself. You go to make a transaction, and I'll let you go. You go to make a transaction, and then next thing you see, oh, dang, I thought I had $1 million here. I only got $500K. Right? But you was going to say something?
They say that homeless people are happier than people that are well off. You can go to any city and look at a homeless person. Sometimes they'd be smiling. They might be dancing. They may be talking to somebody. They may be in a good mood. But a lot of times the people that are well off, they have so much on their plate and so much to quote unquote worry about, or so many things to handle, or they can't slow down life to where they can't see that, what life is, what I'm saying, and take it in for what it is. You can't, like Ecclesiastes 3, they don't understand that there's seasons. They a lot of times they can't see into the future and say, you know what, I might be in a space in the future where I'm happy again. I might be in a space in the future where this whatever is on my heart is not there no more. Right? Something may come into my life. Someone may come into my life. Something may happen to where I'm not feeling this way no more. A lot of times we can't get out of the moment, right? And that is our downfall. A lot of times is a lot of people are in the moment, right? Moses, when he asked the Lord to take his life because he felt like it was too much for him, he was living in the moment. He didn't see the bigger picture. A lot of times you got to see the bigger picture for your life. And it's not what you're currently doing all the time. But, a lot of times, and we read this a lot last night at camp, a lot of times, a gift destroyeth the heart, in the aspect of, if you're blessed with a lot of talent, that's a gift that God gave you. You blessed to make it to certain levels of excellence, that's a gift. And a lot of times that gift will destroy your heart because you'll start thinking that gift is your purpose and you don't know what to do without that purpose. Or you let it go to your head and it turns into idolatry and you get the big head and now you're doing stuff that now you may regret, right? We don't know what is behind this brother's story of what happened. We don't know, right? It could have been a spectrum of a lot of things. It could have been, he just didn't feel the same in the sport no more. He didn't know if he was going to get back. It could have been maybe he did something that he wasn't supposed to do and somebody was about to come forth and, and he didn't want the blackmail. Maybe it was something that happened in his family in an argument he had and stuff. And he felt some remorse for something that he wish he could, go back. And it doesn't matter what it was. You just got to get yourself out of the moment and understand that if your heart's still beating, that means God still has a reason for you. You know what I'm saying? Let the Most High be the determining factor on if it's the end or not. Get out the moment, Khan,
man, again, let me go to another precept because that reminded me of, the classic, man. The classic. Let me go to it because we read this a lot. So let's read this. Let's read this and let's read Sirach 2:1. Let's read through 7. Let's read through 7. So, like it, brother, I know I got you doing a lot of reading, but read through 7.
Sirach chapter 2, starting at verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble.
Right, right. I want to emphasize that. Make not haste, like the brother just said. You know, sometimes you can't get in the moment. So what we do, I mean, sometimes you in the moment. So what we do is, in the moment, we just make an irrational decision. But let's learn not to make haste in the moment where things are the most intense. Let's learn to not make haste and do or say anything that'll cause us to fall in moments where situations are the hardest, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, let's keep reading.
God. And I want to put an example real quick.
Go ahead.
You know, we've been dealing with a lot of weather stuff and a lot of deep freezes and stuff. I was watching a video and the guy said the number one thing you're supposed to do if you get trapped in ice water, right? Like say you're walking across a frozen lake and you collapse. So the number one thing you're supposed to do is to not be hasty and to calm yourself down and to calm your heart rate down. Because a lot of times what happens is a lot of people, when they get into that intensity of the moment, whether they get bit by a snake, whether they get something lodged into their leg and they got to stop the bleeding. A lot of times when you act in haste, you make the situation worse. Like the brother Isaiah just said, you got to be able to calm down in the intense moments. Those are the moments that you're supposed to calm yourself down, because if not, you're going to make irrational decisions, irrational movements, things going to happen to where you make the situation worse. You got to be able to slow yourself down, breathe, assess the situation, and make the right next move. Because a lot of times things are going 1,000 miles per minute in that intense moment. But when you slow yourself down, right, you will see that you got more time than you really think you had, right? If that makes sense. But verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at the last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
Hey, man, these last 2 verses, man, they hit like wine. You know what I'm saying? Like the brother said earlier, sometimes we just got to wait, right? And when we wait, we understand that the Lord could give us an opportunity to be increased. But however, sometimes in life we go through things and that's all we focus on is when we're increased. I can't wait to be increased. I can't wait to get back on top. I can't wait to be made great. What if the Lord never gets you to that point? Sometimes you just got to be, like the brother said, be in the moment. But when you're in the moment, instead of making haste to get yourself out of it through different ways, different avenues, right? Especially suicide. It's unfortunate, man, that we have brothers that go through this and they fight these battles and they end up taking their life. Women too. But man, if we just understand that in situations where it's the most mentally challenging and frustrating, we just need to take a minute to just chill, calm ourselves down, like the brother said, and wait. Wait. You going through something, man. My biggest thing is when especially now, man, going through something, but I'm not really focused on when the Lord does this great thing, man. I'm really just trying to learn and examine, what I can learn from this situation, how I can be better. I'm really more focused on trying to trust the Lord and more focused on fixing the things that I need to fix as a man to be better. So if it be the Lord will that I am increased at that last end, then I can truly appreciate the blessing that he bestowed upon me, because I didn't make haste to change my situation. And because I didn't make haste to change it, I was able to be increased. It ain't always got to be money and riches, man. Sometimes it's in wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. When all I get understanding, man. That's Proverbs 4:7. Years ago, When we was doing these lives, that would be one of the first precepts I always read on every lesson. Because the wisdom of the world is foolishness with the Most High God, but the wisdom of the Most High God is what we need the most. That's going to be our stability in these times. So when we go through things, man, we got to learn to take it cheerfully, but not take it cheerfully with the thought process of, oh, I'm gonna be chilling because I know the Lord gonna give me 150 chariots after this. No, take cheerfully, because it can be indicative that not only is the Lord dealing with you, but also you have an opportunity to learn and let your life be an example to others that they may learn how to handle adversity when it comes and strikes. But let's read verse 5. It's 5 through 7.
Verse 5, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him.
Mm-hmm.
He that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy.
Do what?
Wait for his mercy.
Mm-hmm.
Go not aside, lest ye fall.
Right, man. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy. And that's the problem, man. Sometimes in this life, let's go back to 1 John real quick. In this life, people don't fear the Lord. Why? Because of the lust of the flesh, because of the lust of the eyes, because of the pride of life. That is not of the Father. So if you're doing things that are not indicative of having a relationship with the Most High God, of course, you're going to make haste in situations. Again, don't let me say that to say that that was the brother Rondale Moore. I didn't know him. I only watched him. And I'm not speaking on his situation as in I know exactly what's going on. This is just an exhortation. This is just maybe advice. And this is a safe space for brothers to come, sisters to come, and maybe get some, some spiritual encouragement, some mental encouragement to fight the good fight of faith. That's the only thing that you can do on this side of life. We don't control anything. The Most High runs the show. We use the cards that he dealt us, and we make the best hand out of it, because that's what he required for us to do. It's the same example in Luke, I want to say that's 13 or Luke 16, whichever it was, when Christ told them boys, occupy till I come. Some of them were given different portions of things, right? They were given a different portion, but they still had to make the most out of what they were given. In this world, I wanted to, look, Rondale Moore played in the NFL. Man, I wanted to be in the NFL growing up. That was my dream job, being a national football player. Like, I wanted to be a professional athlete. That was my dream job, man. But you got to think, there's so many things that come with it. So many things that come with being a professional athlete on that scale, in the spotlight like that. I get it, and I'm not saying I get it because I lived that life or I've lived that life before, but I get it because it's no different than regular life. Anytime that you're maturing and you become a professional, anytime that you start taking on more responsibilities in any aspect of life, there's going to be additional challenges and trials that come with it. But you also got to have the mental fortitude to be able to handle those things. Because if you don't, you're going to have a fall. And we don't want our brothers to continue to take themselves out the game. Don't check yourself out the game, because the Lord could increase you. Like it reads right here, going back to the book of Sirach, right? Sirach, right? It says right here again in verse 7, ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside lest ye fall. Right? And in verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away. You depart not away, that's you doing what verse 7 says, and that's waiting for his mercy. So when you wait for his mercy, then you're going to be increased at his end. You're going to be increased. That's why you can't check yourself out the game, man. Again, heat of the moment. Sometimes you got to tarry, right? A lot of bad decisions that people make financially is impulse buying. I know because I've done it before, man. Impulse buying. Sometimes you got to tarry, sit on that decision. If you want something, just wait for a little bit longer, right? Wait for a little bit longer. And then if the Lord still has it on your spirit to do this thing after you've waited a certain amount of time and the deal is good, you've done all the financials and you examine and it's a good deal to make, then you make that purchase, right? Like the brothers yesterday, I think the brother Denal put a video in our family chat, man. and it was an interview with Bow Wow, Lou Williams, and I forgot the other brother's name. But Bow Wow was really talking about how he used to make bad purchases. He said he spent about $9 million on cars. He had to fly to New York, go to a meeting about, hey, you spending too much money on cars and stuff like that. But it was two stories that he told on that interview that really kind of like, he was putting it in perspective about why people shouldn't do that. He said he bought a $500,000 Rolls Royce. You know what I'm saying? He said when he bought it, he said afterwards, it was the worst decision that he felt like he made the worst decision ever. Right? Why? Because sometimes you can buy something and because it looks nice and you can afford it, you just go ahead and do it. But then when you get it, you realize, dang, I spent this much money. That goes back into that bag with holes. That goes back into Haggai 1:6, where we talked about, hey, he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. Why? Because that hole at the bottom, everything that hole represents is what we do in this life, right? And because that hole is there, because people don't understand the true value of life. So you get this money, you start having your way, you able to do some things, and you just start buying stuff just because you can. But a lot of times you buy stuff because you're trying to compete with other people. You're trying to keep up with other people. Or you can just buy it because you want to, but it's still a bag with holes because now you just trying to fund a life. Man, you making it hard on yourself in some occasions. 20 years down the line, you checking your accounts. You thought you had your family set up for life 20 years ago, but now you thinking like, oh, damn, I got to come out of retirement now. Brothers pulling Floyd Mayweather's. And Bow Wow literally said one of the other purchases that he made was dumb. He said he bought a Lamborghini. He was with some friends, the same friends that was with him when he bought that Rolls Royce. He said he was with some friends. He bought a Lamborghini, and then he went to a video shoot or whatever. He was around Nelly and some other famous rappers, and they was kind of little boying him. Now, mind you, Bow Wow was already undersized as a man, but not only he's dealing with that, he's also dealing with the fact that, hey, their money was a little bit longer, So they was clowning him because the doors on his Lambo wasn't butterfly doors. If you know what butterfly doors look like, they open up like this, not like regular car doors, like out. They open up. So he didn't have butterfly doors on his car, so they was clowning him. So he said what he did is he went back to Miami. He bought a Lambo that had butterfly doors. He said he took the same black car that he had, he put it, and they swiped it. The money was good. He said he drove that car back to Atlanta, and then he pulled up on him again with the Lambo with butterfly doors. He made that transaction just to impress somebody, to impress a man. The money that he got, putting his wages into a bag with holes. Now, granted, again, I'm not saying, and brother's not saying that it's wrong to have money on this side of life, and we're not saying that spending money on nice things are a sin. But what I'm saying is that in this life, you got to put things in a perspective about what matters more. And what matters more is not about whether your car got doors that open up differently from the rest, right? That's not going to make you more valuable than if you had cars that didn't have doors on them at all, right? What makes you valuable, more valuable than any other thing, is your peace of mind. Your peace of mind, right? Let me get another precept real quick. Let me go to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah, we read this last week, but how much more fitting, given the situation. Let's read this in Isaiah chapter 26, and let's read verse number 3 and 4.
God, Isaiah 6, starting at 26, starting at verses 3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength.
Right. Man, trust in the Lord forever, right? If we keep our mind on the Most High in the things of the Lord, we will have perfect peace. This is not perfect peace when you're focusing on the things of the world. Because why? It's not of the Father, but it's of the world, right? And let me go somewhere real quick. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse number 19. This is one of my favorite verses in all the scriptures. Why? Because look at this. Let's read this.
Starting at verse 19.
Just reading verse 19.
Oh, verse 19. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness.
So the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High, man. And a lot of people have problems because they're wise according to this world. They're wise according to this world, right? Again, we're the guys that's helping you with the mental side of health right now, right? We're the help for the mental side. Again, we watch Rondale more highlights because I wanted to show you people blocking, right? I wanted to show you people doing their job so he could do his. Look at this highlight.
Burst of speed. A first down for Purdue. Step out of bounds. Stop and go. Nope, he stepped out of bounds. More in motion. They get it to him. More in space.
Before he caught that pass and was able to do what he did. Matter of fact, let's finish the video because I want you to see what he did on this highlight.
A burst of speed. A first down for Purdue. He's still going. More. Touchback. Touchdown.
Man, an electrifying player. He had help. He had help. And that's what we're doing on the screen today, helping. Doing our best to give you maybe a different understanding and perspective to help you in your fight mentally. If you don't have any type of spiritual, now granted, I'm gonna say the real, right? People be saying you need to find a spiritual power and connect to that power. No, you need to find the Most High God, right? Because all these other gods are nothing, right? All these other gods are not the Most High God. They're not the God of the earth. All these other connections that you may have spiritually, yeah, that's whatever. But the Most High God is the God of all the earth. He is the judge of judges. He's the Lord of lords, truly. He is the ruler of everything. Connect with him. Tap in with him. Get in touch with him. Because he's the one that's going to help you, right? Like we just read in Isaiah 26. Like, hey, he's going to keep you in perfect peace if your mind is stayed on him. Let's go to another book, another chapter in Isaiah, man. Well did Isaiah prophesy, right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 40, and let's read verse number 31.
Verse 31. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint.
Right. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. They that wait upon the Lord, like we read in this book right here. Like we read in this book right here. If you depart not away, if you wait for his mercy, if you go not aside, if you cleave unto him, you're going to be increased at thy last end. All of these things have to take place in order for you to get that increase, though. And these are young men that's dealing with these challenges and these trials, man, taking their own life. Not only was it Rondale Moore, but it was just a rapper from Jacksonville that just took his own life a few days ago. So we got these young men, right? We got these young men taking their life because of the things of this world. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying specifically exactly what the fight is with the things of the world. But the reason I know it's of the world is because the Most High God would not have you take you out the game. He would rather us repent and turn to him before he would ever destroy or harm us, right? He said that himself. The problem is, though, is we don't understand that. But that's why it says right here in Sirach 2, man, verse 4, whatever is brought upon you, you got to take cheerfully, man. And you got to be patient. Wait on the answer of God. At the end of the day, it's the Lord's show. I don't have one power to turn any of the hairs on my head gray. Like I was telling the brother Azrael before we got on live in the back room, I said, man, I'm looking at my hairline and my joint's starting to hit the U. You know what I'm saying? I don't got no power to make it back straight like it was when I was younger. Hey, bro. I don't have no power to actually make the hair that's fading go back to where it was. I can get a little enhancements and it's gonna look straight, but we're not talking about enhancements, right? But nonetheless, man, you know, my whole MO with this thing is help, man, receiving the help that we need, right? Another scripture real quick. Dang, but I forgot it though. Psalms 121 and 1. Share this tab. Let's read this, right? Hold on, wait. Let me make it big, right? But let's read this Psalms 121. Let's read 1 through 3.
121, starting at verse 1. A song of degrees. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Man, the Lord is never going to slumber. He's always up. He's always active, man. And if you're doing things that he's calling you to do, he'll protect you. But the thing is, we got to start getting our people to do the things that the Lord wants us to do, right? We got to start getting our young people back to the Lord, man. I'm a person myself, so I'm included in that, you know? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter about what's going on in the world. People, whether it be relationship drama, whether it be cars, whether it be lack of stability financially, like it's so many things. It can be health too. It can be health related. Like it's so many things that take place in this life. Everybody's situation is unique to them, but it's not unique to the Most High God. He's seen it and done it. He's seen it all before. He made these things happen. So we got to start looking to him when situations go left. A lot of times people do what they do is you may get help, right? But it's not really, you don't really appreciate it because it's just somebody else. But if you don't want to rely on man's opinion to make you feel better, to give you perspective, you don't want to take our word for it. This is why we read the Bible and we show you the Bible on the screen so you can go to the Bible and get your answer. Don't take Brother Isaiah for it. Don't take Brother Azrael. Don't take Obadiah for it, bro. Don't take Obadiah word for it. Nah, I'm just messing. But don't take Obadiah for it. Don't take the Denal for it. Don't even take the Baruch, the brother Baruch who be in the chat from time to time putting the scriptures in the chat. Don't take his word for it. And if you see any other person on the Hopeful Elect platform that's not of the name I just mentioned, don't take their word for it. Go to the Most High God. Look to him to help you through this problem. But don't make haste when you go through it. That's why we got to tell our young people to get grounded in the Lord, man. Get grounded in the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, he's the only person that matters, man. I'm not going to act like I ain't never had no thoughts of suicide myself personally. Back when I was a senior in high school, freshman in college, man, really even before that, man, I was going through a lot of mental battles, bro. You know, I was going through some mental strongholds, man. And it took a lot for me to really like get through that. And that was way before I even know the way we're able to go through the scriptures now. I didn't know how to go to the scriptures like that back then. I was always in the church, but never really knew how to navigate my way around the word a little bit better like I do now. But I'm glad that I waited to get to a point where I know how to navigate better, because now it makes things easier. Had I gave up on myself back then, notice I didn't say God gave up on me. Had I given up on myself back then, I wouldn't be able to sit here today and be able to break bread with brothers and sisters on the screen about how to stay the course, fight the good fight of faith. If I'd have given up on myself many years ago, I wouldn't be able to navigate the word a little bit better. And that makes me smile in my heart, man. It makes me feel good knowing that when people ask questions, when we on the street corners and we teach it, people got questions, we can answer their questions. Now, sometimes brothers have brain farts, so yeah, we might gotta Google it up, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, majority of the time, bro, hey, they say something, okay, hey, give me the book of this, you give me the book of that, you give me the book of that. We love doing that, man. We had a beautiful conversation at camp yesterday with a couple, and then we had a a slight. I'm not gonna say a debate at all. It wasn't no debate, but then we had another conversation with somebody else following that couple that we talked to. But one thing that we said was that, after the person left, we said, man, it's not going to be too much information that you just finna introduce us to. You know what I'm saying? Like in the Bible, you're not going to sit up here and think that you see 5 brothers wearing fringes on the corners every weekend, and you think that we don't know absolutely nothing about what we're teaching out of. That's a beautiful thing to have brothers around you that you can lean on. Even if I have a brain fart, I know Azrael may know it. Say me and Azrael brain farting. Denal may know it. If Denal don't know it, Obadiah may know it for sure. Right? Baruch gonna know some too. So what I'm saying is we got to get to the point where we're tarrying in the Lord, right? We're not making haste when he puts us in situations that get challenging. Because if you make haste in certain situations, 9 times out of 10, it won't work out well for you. You have help. We just got to know how to use it. But before you know how to use the help, we got to know where the help comes from. And that's why we went to Psalms 121. You got to get on your knees and pray, man. When you feel like you weak and you can't take it no more and you got a loaded gun around you, before you pull that trigger, you need to call somebody. If nobody answers the phone, that does not mean go and pull the trigger. That means the Lord don't want you to talk to them. Talk to him. So go get on your knees and pray. Change the way you think in the moments where situations hit the hardest. It don't matter if you're being bullied. It don't matter if you're being belittled, degraded. And I'm not, okay, let me say this. I'm not a person who necessarily thinks words don't matter. I think words do matter, right? I've done many lessons on, the power of the tongue. I think that words do have power. And I think the way people talk to you it can make you feel a certain type of way. I don't think that they're just nothing. But what I am about to say is that in the grand scheme of things, words are nothing. Words are words. Shake them off. You know what I'm saying? So separate yourself from those people who may speak vile things against you, gainsay about you, if that's what you're dealing with. If you're dealing with people physically abusing you, run to the nearest place that you can go to where you can get help. At the end of the day, we got to take the avenues that the Lord has made available to us to get out of these situations. But if you make haste to get out of it by checking yourself out forever, you'll never be able to see you on the other side of it. You're going to die in the middle of that situation. And where's the honor in that, man? There ain't no honor in that. So that's just a lesson for today, man. Rondale Moore. That's all I can think about. Rondale Moore. I don't know the brother's name that from Jacksonville that just passed away. I don't know what his name was. I know it was a little something, but there's so many things that we can do as a people, right, to help ourselves and help us to understand that we have an opportunity to get on the other side. Lil Papa, that's what I thought it was, right? Lil Papa. The brother Obadiah is gonna know for sure, man. But Lil Papa, man, he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound in Atlanta. There's so many things that we can do, man, to change our situation. Don't give up on yourself. You make haste and you forget that the Lord can increase you, you're going to die not even having an opportunity to be increased. And in that day that you're resurrected and the Lord is playing back your life, you may be viewing your life and the Lord may put a spirit on your spirit to experience that same pain that you experienced right before you took your own life again. Because you weren't able to go over that pain, man. The best way out is not to just completely dismiss yourself. The best way out every situation is to go through it. Because once you go through it, man, you're going to realize how much stronger you are on the other side. Mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, whatever your fight is, man. Again, brothers don't get on here to teach that, hey, as a person who loves God, you got to be broke. If you got money in this lifetime, you're going to hell. No, we're not saying that, man. And that's just for people who may be dealing with financial battles that may make them want to take themselves out the game. Man, no, we're not saying that. But we saying is perspective, man. Perspective. The things of the Lord is what matters the most. The commandments, right? And I'll read this last precept before we close out, right? Well, I wanted to read that. Let me just go to Revelation, man. I'll go to Revelation closing. Because there's so many precepts that come into mind right now, but Revelation chapter 3, you're not 3. 21. Let's read this. Let's read this in Revelation chapter 21. Let's start at verse number 1 and let's read through verse number 5. So this is Revelation 21. Let's start at verse 1 and let's read through verse 5.
Revelation 21:1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. There was no more sea.
Right. I saw a new heaven and a new earth, right? Remember that. Keep going.
And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. And God shall wipe away all the tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful.
Read the verse. Read verse number 7, right? Read verse number 7, and we'll close with this.
He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son.
Amen. At the end of the day, the Lord is going to do a new thing in the earth. And the only way you can really get to inherit that is if you fight the good fight. Don't check yourself up out the game, though, because he's not doing nothing for you. We're not going to get into our thoughts of what suicide is according to the Bible. I'm not going to even go that route. I'm going to go the route of saying, I don't want you to even take that route. Learn how to fight the good fight, because there's going to be a day where we're not going to die no more. We're not going to sorrow no more. All the things of this world are not going to take place anymore. So don't allow them to allow yourself to take yourself out the game. Play the game, man. You're going to get blocked. Play the game. Somebody is going to put their hands on you, but play the game, man. And I'm a basketball coach and football coach. Football, you going to get physical. Basketball, you going to get physical. You going to get trapped. You going to play some good talent. Teams are going to go on runs. Play the game, though. Don't quit. You're going to pass the ball to your teammate going to drop it. It's going to go out of bounds. Don't quit. Play the game, right? Put what matters most in the picture. If you're an athlete, what matters most to you as an athlete is winning the championship or the highest award there is. But you can't win that award if you sit up here and you quit on the team just because y'all are 1-5. Go play the game. Go finish the season. Y'all might finish the season 11-5. The Kansas City Chiefs did it in 2015. Start off the season 1-5, win 11-5, make the playoffs. The problem is not enough people want to play the game in this day and age. But we got to learn to play the game, especially as young men, right? Take care of your mental health, right? Know where your help come from. Know that you can have help. And if any help that matters more than anything, it's that mental and spiritual health. They go one in the same, man. You got to get your spirit right with the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that'll help get your mind right, because like we read in Isaiah 26, the Lord is going to keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on him. So once you align with the will of the Father, your mind is going to be at much more peace. And the cares of this life won't even matter as much no more. I don't care what people say. I really don't care what people say. People call me hard-headed. People call me not arrogant, but people call me prideful. But let me tell you this, man. Sometimes you got to be hard-headed to an extent, right? And I'm not saying that you got to be disobedient to the Most High. I'm talking about to man, to the world, right? Damn what man say in the world. Damn their opinions, damn their advice. You listen to the Lord and let the Lord guide your life, and that'll help you in this walk. But know that you can't have that help. I don't got anything else to add, brother. You got anything?
Nah, man. I always tell people, man, play the game of life. Relationships, jobs, ambitions. You got to play the game of life and overcome all. That's how you're going to get your reward in the end, says Revelation. So endure unto the win. Endure unto the end, man. Come on, mighty lesson.
Kind of, brother. Azrael just did a lesson on that Friday. Enduring till the win, right? He that endured to the end, like we read in Matthew 24:13 on Friday, he that endured to the end, the same shall be saved. So you got to endure. You got to not tarry. You got to not make haste. You got to tarry. Tarry longer with the Lord, man, and it'll work out the way the Lord intends it to work out. But with that, we say, all praise, glory be to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is your brothers from the Hope Elect with Soul Food Sunday. Hey, I hope that everybody can learn from the brother Rondale Moore, the brother Lil Papa, man, and any brothers worldwide that go through the battles of mental health and decide to take their life. We got to learn from their examples, and we got to learn how to be stronger ourselves mentally, right? But we'll be back on here Tuesday with the brother Denal and his lesson. And until then, we say shalom.
Shalom.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm putting leave. Hold on, wait. Salaki. I'm putting leave. I got to put in stream.